Hello everyone, I'm Indresh Devatia and I'm going to take a chapter today which is from class 9, and the name of the chapter, which you must have read for sure, is The Last Leaf, and the author of the same is O. Henry. Now the learning objectives of today's class would be to gather some important information about the author and also to understand the plot of the story. Let's move ahead. So let's learn a bit about the poet, the author here. Now, O. Henry is the pen name or the pseudonym of American short story writer William Sidney Porter. So O. Henry is just a pen name and not the real name of the author. The real name of the author is William Sidney Porter. Now this pseudonym, this pen name is also called as, Chhadm Naam in Hindi. For example, Premchand, you must have read about Premchand. Premchand was not the real name, it was his pseudonym, it was his pen name. His real name was Dhanpat Rai. Let's move ahead. So he was born on 11th September 1862 in North Carolina, US, and passed away in 1910. His works include The Gift of the Maggie, The Ransom of Red Chief, etc. So basically he was a short story writer. So this is the picture for you of William Sidney Porter, pseudonym O. Henry. Let's move ahead. A short summary of the story. Now, before going on to the story, you might be interested in watching an adaptation of the same short story. Now, a film was made in 2013 in India, and the name of that feature film was Lutera. It starred Ranveer Singh and Sonakshi Sinha. It was directed by Vikramaditya Motwane, and it has got the IMDb rating of 7.4 out of 10, which is a very good one. So it's a very nice adaptation. You might be interested in watching that film, so compare and contrast between this film and this chapter. You would really enjoy that. So before diving into the short summary of the story, let me tell you about the characters first. Now John-C, Sue and Berman, old Berman, they live together. Together means Berman lives below them in the apartment on the ground floor. So there's a janitor who takes care of the building, and there is a doctor too. And there is an ivy creeper too, which plays an important part. So let's go with a short summary. So John-C has fallen ill and is dying of pneumonia. Please watch the spelling of pneumonia where P is silent, and it is spelled as Pneumonia. She watches the leaves fall from a vine outside the window of her room and decides that when the last leaf drops, she too will die. While Sue tries to tell her to stop thinking like that. Now John-C has fallen seriously ill, and she looks outside the window, and whenever she sees a leaf falling down from that ivy creeper, she thinks that when the last leaf would fall down, she would also pass away. Now this is considered to be very strange by Sue, and Sue is really very concerned about her friend with whom she shares her studio apartment, and she's really concerned. So she tries her best to tell John-C, that this cannot be true and you cannot just pass away like that. I'm here for you. So Sue tries various things. She comes and paints in front of her. She tries to whistle so that John-C's concentration can be taken from the idea of death to the life. Sue is not ready to give up on John-C, but John-C is not ready to give on death. She wants to die, she is willing to die. There is no will of life in her which is left. Let's move forward. So an old frustrated artist named Berman lives below John-C and Sue. So he's a frustrated artist, he is an old artist. He has been claiming that he will paint a masterpiece. So painting a masterpiece, making a masterpiece is a dream of every painter, is a dream of every artist, and he also harbored that dream. Even though he has never even attempted to start, so Sue goes to him and tells him that her friend is dying of pneumonia, and that John-C claims she will die when the last leaf falls off a vine outside her window. Now Sue, asking for some help, goes to Berman and tells him what the situation is, what are the circumstances in which they are living presently. Berman scoffs at this as foolishness. So Berman is not at all amused, he's not at all happy, by the situations which have come up. And he's like frustrated on this thing that, no one can die like that, no one decides that. So this idea is a very stupid idea. I don't really support that. So Berman scoffs at this as foolishness, but as he's protective of the two young artists, he decides to see Johnsy and the wine. But now, though he's very angry at this fact, at this idea that Johnsy would pass away when the last leaf falls down, he still, figures it out and thinks that he should have a look at wine and at Johnsy too, so that he can decide that in which way he can help. In the night, a very bad storm comes, and wind is howling and rain is splattering against the window. Sue closes the curtains and tells Johnsy to go to sleep. Remember, Sue is very nervous. She has also started to think in a similar manner like Johnsy is. She is nervous, she is anxious because she might lose her friend after the last leaf falls. And because it's raining, because it's commotion outside, and wind is howling, there is a huge storm outside. So there are anxious moments. So Sue closes the curtains and tells Johnsy to go to sleep, even though there is still one left on the vine. Johnsy protests, but Sue insists on doing so because she doesn't want Johnsy to see the last leaf fall. In the morning, Johnsy wants to see the vine to be sure that all the leaves are gone. But to their surprise, there is still one left. So there is one leaf still hanging there on the ivy creeper, and they cannot believe it. There is a beautiful line in this chapter, in the short story, when Sue is very nervous, opening the curtains, drawing the curtains of the window, because she knows, because it was huge storm last night, and the last leaf would perhaps fallen off. But now, to their surprise, they find that one leaf is still hanging. And you would be very easily able to relate when you watch that film which I just suggested you. And that character of Sonakshi Sinha watches every day out of the window. And to her amazement, she finds a leaf still hanging every day, which is like next to impossible. But it doesn't. So while Johnsy is surprised that it is still there, she insists it will fall that day. Now Johnsy is also surprised, but she says, okay, but it has to fall down someday. But it doesn't. Nor does it fall through the night, nor the next day. Johnsy believes that the leaf stayed there to show how wicked she was, and that she sinned in wanting to die. Now finally, Johnsy has given away the thought, she has given away the thought of dying. And she has also assumed the fact that she was, committing a sin. She was doing something very wrong, terribly wrong, by, just thinking of dying. She wanted to die. But now by looking at the leaf, which is still there, the leaf is still hanging strong, she has just confessed it, that yes, I should live, and I should learn from this leaf which is still holding its ground. And I was very wicked that I thought about death. She regains her will to live and makes a full recovery throughout the day. So amazing change. One last leaf changed her life. Amazing, isn't it? Now the doctor also had suggested Sue that Johnsy had no will to live. That's why Sue was trying so hard. Johnsy had given up. That's why, no medicine was working on her. But now, as she had the will to live, the doctor comes again and tells Sue perhaps, that now Johnsy feels better and she looks better because she has decided to. So once you decide to do something, chances are very bright that conditions will be favorable for you. And same thing happened with Johnsy. Let's move to the very next and very important chapter, the part of the story. So in the afternoon, a doctor talks to Sue. The doctor says that Mr. Berman has come down with pneumonia, and as there is nothing to be done for him, he is being taken to the hospital to be made comfortable in his final hours. So suddenly, we got a good news that Jauncey has finally recovered and she's on her verge of starting her life all again. Here comes the bad news. The old man, Behrman, the painter, is under severe pneumonia. Looks like pneumonia is on the hunt. And pneumonia is in its final condition. That means Behrman is not going to live anymore. A janitor had found him helpless with pain and his shoes and clothing were wet and icy cold. So janitor, who takes care of the building, found Behrman with shoes and clothes wet, and he was terribly shaking, he was terribly shivering, Behrman. We don't know how. The janitor couldn't figure out where he had been on that stormy night, though she had found a lantern that was still lit. So there was a lantern which was still lit, a lamp, a ladder that had been moved, so there was also a ladder, some scattered brushes, so there were some scattered brushes as he was a painter, and a palette with green and yellow colors mixed on it. So there were yellow colors and green colors, so there was a mix of color. Look out the window, dear, at the last ivy leaf on the wall. Someone says that. Didn't you wonder why it never fluttered or moved when the wind blew? Ah, darling, it's Behrman's masterpiece. He painted it there the night that the last leaf fell. Now, William Sidney Porter, O. Henry, ends the story with such a great revelation that we have goosebumps on our skin. We have like hair standing on the end of our skin. So the ending says that, Behrman painted a leaf. So it was a fake leaf. He went to the ivy creeper. He put a ladder. It was, it was raining. It was very cold. It was biting cold out there. He was an old man. He was already suffering from pneumonia. But still, he created that masterpiece. He created that leaf and he finally tied it to the ivy creeper so that Jauncey persists and she has the will to live on. So now why this single leaf, which was painted by Behrman, has been referred to as masterpiece? It's simple enough. And you must be aware of the answer as well. So masterpiece, because it helped someone, overcome that feeling of death. Jauncey just gave up. She did not want to live anymore. But now, because of this leaf, because of this last hope, the last leaf is also the last hope, Jauncey started to live again. So won't you call that a true masterpiece? It was amazing masterpiece. And Behrman, the old man, almost sacrificed his life. Not almost, he did that. So he sacrificed his life for the young artist called Jauncey. That's why it's a masterpiece. Now leaf has to be taken up as a hope, as dwindling hope, or let's say the last hope. You can call it whatever you feel like. But you need to have some inspiration. Whenever you want to, whenever you feel that you have been put down by someone, you have been put down by something. So this was the story for you. Now let me also tell you that a very interesting assignment would be to compare a poem called Wind, which I have already covered with you, written by Subramanya Bharati and translated by Ramanujan, with this chapter, The Last Leaf. Are there any similarities? Can you compare them? Let's see. It would be an interesting work to do. So this is the picture for Last Leaf for you. Thank you.